Hello, TMV.ZONE members. I am in big need of your help. It is a very important responsibility. But before I get into exactly what kind of responsibility that is, let me tell you something first. So, as you know, TMV.ZONE is probably one of the friendliest communities in Minecraft, or perhaps the most friendly community in Minecraft, but we always still need new players. Why is that? Because part of what makes this such a friendly community experience is always having players to talk to who are friendly on the server. And not everybody has time to play Minecraft, so if there are not enough players to play Minecraft on the server, there will be very few other people to talk to on the server. And we still have many times during the day where there are perhaps less than 5 players on the server, or perhaps even no players on the server, depending on the time of day because of different time zones. We still don't have many people for the overnight hours where all of the North America people are asleep, so if new players come on the server during that time, then they don't exactly have anyone to talk to, or even existing players. We have some players who are from that time zone who are already members of TMV.ZONE, but they don't really have that many people who they can interact with when they come to play on the server at these times. And so having a lot of players is important because it allows there to be even more friendliness on the server, and the more players that there are, we could potentially get even more game modes onto TMV.ZONE so that players can interact in many other ways on this server. And so one of the most important things about running a server from my end is finding new players who can play on the server, and this is by recruiting various ways. But recruiting can be very difficult because any way that I could potentially recruit, there's also many other servers trying to recruit the same new players from the same places. And so it can be very difficult to get exposure for TMV.ZONE because there's all these other servers fighting for that same visual real estate. And then even if you get some players to see what your server IP is, then it's still difficult because you won't necessarily convince those players to check out your server. And so a lot of people might get their eyes across your server IP, but they won't actually want to type it in and to check out the server itself. And so recruiting could be difficult. I usually handle all the recruiting on TMV.ZONE, but what's more important after the recruiting is actually convincing new players to continue playing on TMV.ZONE after they come on for the first time. And you might not know this, but it's the same for most other servers, well, pretty much any other server. A majority of new players that log in for the first time will not come back for a second day. And why is this? Well, it could be a variety of reasons. It could be that they got bored. It could be that they did not have their expectations met when they came on the server. And we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. We want players to have a good first experience that convinces them to come back for a second day. And so how do we do this? Well, put yourself in the shoes of a new player. Since you're already someone who plays on TMV.ZONE, most likely if you're watching this video, you already play on TMV.ZONE regularly, you know that this is a friendly community. But someone who comes on for the first time is only taking my word for it. I say that it's friendly, they don't necessarily believe me. They want to see it in action. So they come on the server, perhaps they're greeted by a bunch of welcomes, and everyone on here are very friendly welcomers. We get a ton of people who say welcome when someone logs in for the first time. But after that, there's not necessarily going to be anyone who interacts with the new player after all the welcomes are said. So the new player's just left wandering around, alone on the server. They don't really see anyone else around. And so at that point, the player might say to themselves, well, if I don't really have anyone else to play with, then I may as well play on single player because it's the same thing. And so that just shows you how important it is for new players who come on the server to have people to interact with. Because what keeps someone coming back on the server is not necessarily the server itself, but having friends on the server who they can play with every time they come on. And so that's why I created the Welcome Squad for TMV.ZONE. The Welcome Squad is a channel and a rank in the TMV.ZONE official Discord where anyone who wants to join the welcome squad gets put into this channel, and our goal is to make sure that any new player who comes on the server ultimately feels welcome, and this goes far beyond just saying the words welcome to the new players that come on the server. The goal of the welcome squad is to actually act as a friend to any new players who come on the server. So if someone comes on the server, one person from the welcome squad will say, hey, I want to be this person's welcomer for perhaps the next few weeks, and then anytime the person comes on the server, they will interact with that player and be that player's friend. And this isn't just a fake thing either. You can become that person's actual real friend. But the goal is to act as their friend, well, to be friendly toward them until they actually integrate themselves into the community and have other friends that they can go to on the server. So that once that happens, then pretty much they'll reliably stick around. They'll keep coming back onto TMV.ZONE. And at that point, they're a member of the community, and they have successfully become welcomed. But for anybody else who hasn't felt welcomed yet, then they could continue having a member of the welcome squad being friendly toward them and welcoming them onto the server each time and playing with them and interacting with them, so that there will be people who can play with them and make sure that they're not bored and have a good time. Maybe I'm just repeating myself a lot here, but ultimately we want one person from the welcome squad to be assigned to each player to make sure that they feel welcomed and to have a friend for them on the server. And that's not possible unless we have enough members of the welcome squad who can continue to play on the server and to act welcoming to as many people as possible. And each member of the welcome squad can only handle so many people, because if you take on too many new players, then you can't dedicate enough time to playing with each of those new players. Ultimately, you can make a big group with all of those new players, but still, the smaller the group, the more attention you'll be able to give to each of the new players. So ultimately, you have a limited amount of time and energy to dedicate to each person. So the more welcomers who we have to take on new players to be their welcome squad member, the better off we are. So I need members of the welcome squad. I've kind of been rambling a bit. Thanks for getting this far where I got to actually explain it. That's pretty much all I had to say. So there's a rank in Discord called Welcome Squad. If you want to dedicate time to actually being a buddy to new players who come on the server and actually spending time with new players, going out of your way to spend that time with them, then let me know, because this is very important. This is far more important than any admins or moderators a server could come on, because you could have as strictly enforced rules as possible with many admins or moderators, but your server's still not going to be fun for people if there are no players to play with for these new players. And it's hard for a new player because everybody already has their own friends, everybody's likely already doing something that they want to do, and so not many people are actually going to want to go out of their way to play with the new players on the server. And so the new players are left all alone, they're lonely, and they're going to leave. So our goal is to make sure that no new player is left feeling lonely on TMV.ZONE, because this is going to be something that sets our server apart. It's something that no other servers pretty much do. And so that is one step forward into making sure that we remain the most friendly server on Minecraft Java Edition. So I want to thank you all for watching this video, and I'm looking forward to many of you joining the Welcome Squad, because I know many of you are some of the most friendly players in Minecraft, and I'd like to see some of that friendliness go toward the new players and making them feel welcome. Thank you all, and have a nice day.